Welcome to the Human 5.0 Project, the podcast where we cut straight to the breakthroughs that matter, the show where science meets self-optimization. I'm your host, Ultimate Biohacker 10X, and here we break down the real research, real data, and real dosing behind modern biohacking, from compounds and peptides to techniques, devices, lifestyle strategies, and performance protocols. Most people jump in and jump out before they get the gold, so we're keeping it tight and delivering the essential insights you need without the fluff. If you've taken the time to hit play, we'll make sure you walk away with valuable knowledge that can transform your approach to longevity, health optimization, and beyond. So I've got a high-end Tanita scale that supposedly is super accurate based on body type. I've got calipers. I've used everything. I always come up with different body comp measurements, and it's a little frustrating. You look in the mirror, I notice significant change in my waist and physique and so on and so forth, but I really want to get down to brass tacks about what my true body comp is. I got a DEXA scan in one hand today and a hard truth in the other. Most people are still using BMI like it's 1830, and we've got no better tools. But here's the wild part. Researchers took raw body DEXA images, fed the pixels into deep learning models, and added a tight set of clinical data, and got a meaningful jump in predicting 10-year survival, especially when they used repeat scans over time. Translation? The scan you did for body comp might be one of the cleanest baseline health snapshots you can buy, if you know what to look at. Tonight, DEXA versus BMI, what DEXA actually measures, why change over time beats a single snapshot, and what the AI model is really seeing that humans actually miss. No fluff, no fear, just signal. Let's lock this one in. What's up, team? Welcome back to the Human 5.0 Project. This is Ultimate Biohacker 10X on the mic, straight facts and no filler. Back for part 2 tonight. We just finished one on the glymphatic system, and I was toying around with DEXA and needed to get this one out ASAP. Quick disclaimer, educational purposes only, not medical advice. DEXA uses low-dose ionizing radiation, and while whole-body DEXA exposure is very low compared to most imaging, it's still a medical-grade tool. Pregnancy, specific conditions, and individual risk decisions belong in the clinician lane. Cool? Let's move. So BMI is weight divided by height squared. That's it. It can't tell the difference between muscle versus fat, visceral fat versus subcutaneous fat, strong versus fragile, dense bone versus low bone, athletic build versus skinny fat. DEXA, dual energy X-ray absorptiometry, does something totally different. It uses 2 X-ray energy levels to estimate how mass is distributed into bone mineral content, lean soft tissue, and fat mass. It can report regional composition, arms, legs, trunk, plus estimates that are clinically useful in aging, sarcopenia risk, which is muscle loss, and metabolic risk. BMI is a hammer. DEXA is a diagnostic dashboard. So let's talk the metrics people glance at and then ignore. Appendicular Lean Mass, or ALM, and ALMI. ALM is basically lean mass in the arms and legs, your locomotive tissue. ALMI is ALM normalized to height, commonly height squared. So the formula, arm lean in kilogram plus leg lean in kilogram over height in meters squared. It's one way researchers quantify sarcopenia risk and functional decline risk. For example, below 7.0 kilogram per meter squared in men or 5.5 in women flags low muscle mass per EWGSOP2 FNIH guidelines. That's a mouthful, I know. Fat-free mass, FFMI. So FFMI is lean mass normalized for height, used a lot in performance and clinical nutrition contexts. Formula, lean soft tissue in kilograms plus bone in kilograms divided by height in meters squared. It's not how shredded you are, it's how much functional tissue you carry for your frame. Ideal ranges, 18 to 25 in men, 15 to 22 in women. Adjust for age. A low FFMI and high visceral fat is a metabolic red flag. Regional fat distribution. 2 people can have the same body fat percent and totally different risk profiles, depending on where the fat lives, especially central abdominal compartments. DEXA-based body comp is widely used in research because it's scalable, relatively standardized, and low dose. Bottom line, DEXA moves the conversation from weight to tissue. Now, the study that matters for this episode. The work we're talking about uses data from the Health, Aging, and Body Composition, or Health ABC, cohort. 3,075 older adults, 48% female, 41% black, 58% white, followed over 16 years with deep phenotyping. Recruited at age 70 to 79, no cancer, and they could still walk. Participants had repeated assessments over many years, DEXA and function and labs. And here's the point. They didn't just do one scan and hope. They had clinical variables, physical function measures, and imaging, and then they compared cross-sectional prediction, one-time point, versus longitudinal prediction, how things change over time. This matters because aging is not static, risk is not static, and trajectory beats a snapshot. Here's the key idea. Most research takes a DEXA scan and reduces it into a few summary values, total fat percent, lean mass, bone density, maybe a regional estimate. But the raw output is an image, and images contain patterns, distribution, asymmetry, shape, density gradients, and they don't get captured by a single number. So in the paper, the authors compare models using clinical variables only, DEXA images only, combined clinical and DEXA images. And then they do the same again with longitudinal data. The headline result, cross-sectional combined model, AUROC 0.71. Longitudinal combined model, AUROC 0.79. AUROC, or area under the receiver operating characteristic curve, is basically a score that tells you how good a predictive model, like a medical test or algorithm, is at distinguishing between two groups. Say people who will have a certain health outcome versus those who won't. In simple terms, imagine a test trying to predict if someone will survive 10 years, positive or not negative. The curve plots how well the test spots true positives. Basically, it correctly flags those who won't survive, with too many false alarms, wrongly flagging healthy people. The area under that curve is the score. 0.5 is no better than flipping a coin. 1.0 would be a perfect prediction, which would be your dream scenario. 0.7 to 0.8 is pretty good, like many real-world medical tests. Higher AUROC means the model is smarter at separating the groups accurately. It's popular in medicine because it handles imbalanced data well. For example, when rare events like mortality are involved, you're looking at studies like that Health ABC one, and AUROC jump from 0.71 to 0.79 means the model got meaningfully better at forecasting risk. And that's a real jump because the model isn't guessing from one frame, it's learning from the movie. And importantly, the combined approach outperforms either alone in both cross-sectional and longitudinal setups, suggesting that DEXA image carries non-redundant information beyond standard clinical inputs. This is the AI moment in body comp. DEXA stops being a printout, it becomes a risk signal. Now I'm going to be careful here. The paper's core message is performance and method. Interpretation is partly inference. But it's not hard to see what's plausible in a total body DEXA image stream. Shifts in lean mass distribution, legs and arms, central fat redistribution, body shape changes that correlate with frailty risk, bone density patterns, and physical function data because function is a brutal truth teller. We already know from broader literature that physical function measures like gait speed and walk performance track with survival and disability outcomes in older adults. Health ABC has publications tying lower extremity performance like gait speed and long walk tests to outcomes, and grip strength has massive literature base as a general health signal across populations, though results can vary by context and cohort. So the model isn't magic, it's integrating structure, DEXA image, and physiology, labs, and function, how you move. That's the trilogy. All right, you're asking, what do I do with this if I'm a real human? Okay. So how does this help you tomorrow? Step 1, use DEXA as a baseline, not a trophy. Don't do DEXA to post body fat percent and spiral over noise. Do it to establish your total lean mass trend, your appendicular lean mass trend, your central fat trend, your bone metrics trend, especially if you're training hard or aging into risk. Step 2, pair your imaging with cheap high-signal measures. If you want a practical framework that resembles the spirit of what these models use, fasting glucose and A1C for metabolic stability, lipids, especially triglycerides in HDL context, inflammation markers if your clinician uses them, strength and walking performance as real-world function checks. And step 3, track the delta or the change. Single scan is a snapshot. 2 scans separated by time, that's a trajectory. The deep learning result is basically screaming longitudinal wins. And if you're going to run this like a biohacker with a brain, keep the conditions similar. Time of day, hydration status, recent training load. Don't overinterpret tiny swings. Look for direction over months to years. Here's the bottom line. BMI is the 1830s tech. DEXA is modern tissue accounting. And when you add AI and longitudinal imaging, well, you get closer to what healthcare actually needs. Risk prediction based on how the body is changing, not just what it weighs today. So if you're scheduling scan number 2 to track your trajectory, drop DXA Delta, DXA DELTA in the comments. Let me know how you're doing. Smash subscribe, stay sharp, stay skeptical, stay stacked. This is Ultimate Biohacker 10X, and I'm out. Thanks for listening to the Human 5.0 Project. If you found value in today's episode, share it with someone who's ready to elevate their biology. Make sure to follow the show for weekly deep dives into peptides, protocols, devices, lifestyle strategies, and the science of high-performance longevity. Until next time, stay curious, stay optimized, and stay 10X.